Hello guys, welcome back to ThriveBros. My name is Timek, I'm your host, and today joining me is Bartek. Hello Bartek.
Hello, Timek.
Okay, so today we'll be discussing gym exercises you should start with. And first of all, I'm not going to ask you for exercises, but I'm curious if beginners should start with cardio. What's your point on that?
With cardio?
Cardio, yes.
Cardio. Oh, I did not expect that. Yeah, I think that they should do cardio. Maybe because I don't really understand the question. Do you mean should they imply cardio to they to their
Yes,
weightlifting
yes.
routine? Okay. So yes, they should. I think all people should have some kind of cardio in their weightlifting routine. It doesn't have to be uh, your main focus, your goal, but yeah, but just for health, you should do a walk at least twice a week, 3 times a week. You should go for a run, some kind of cardio. If you like a sport, if you like playing basketball, if you like playing football, do that. It can be a kind of a cardio, yeah, some kind of a cardio activity. It's very important for your cardiovascular health, as the name says. It's healthy for your heart rate. During the weightlifting, you're gonna be less tired at the gym. So let's say you're I don't know, you're in your routine you have 5 sets of bench press. You're gonna need less time to properly rest between the sets. So yeah, it's it's very important to do cardio, even though it's kind of a meme, a stigma in this culture that we don't do cardio because it stops our gains, but it's not actually a thing. If you focus on running, for example, you're gonna lose gains, but if you just add it as an activity, it doesn't really change that much. It might even help you.
Okay, and kind of adding up to that, when I was starting, the people, the gurus of the gym at TikTok, at YouTube would say that you should start with a run for 5 minutes to warm up and then do your exercise. Uh, and after some time, they would tell me to do first the exercises and then finish off with cardio. How do you see that? So should you start with
I
cardio at the
mean,
beginning of your day?
at the beginning of the day. Wait, but because
Like you go to the gym.
the way you said it is that you should have a quick jog as a warm up. So it's not cardio, it's more like a warm up. Cardio is like a 30 minutes activity, at least 30, at least 20, let's say. Yeah. So I don't do warm ups like that before my workouts. I used to do that, but I stopped because it didn't really change that much for me, I guess. I just stretch really well and then I warm up. I don't know, starting on a bench press, I warm up with weights. So yeah, I prefer that kind of warm up. And with cardio after the workout, it's a preference, honestly. I used to hop on a treadmill after workouts sometimes, some time ago, but I don't really do that. I prefer it's not that entertaining for me. I don't find running fun. I'd rather go play basketball, go play football, do some fun activity in like a which can be sorted as cardio. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. I would say that uh, I'm not. It's kind of a bro science, so that if you start with cardio, you're going to be kind of tired during your actual exercises, and if those are your like main objective, then you shouldn't do cardio at the beginning, just not to tire yourself out before you actually start doing the exercises.
Yeah, so the point with
So
because you keep calling it cardio before, and cardio before is a more of a longer activity. And do you mean cardio or a warm up?
I mean like a 10-minute run or something like that.
Okay, so if you want to warm up this way before a workout and you don't have much stamina, you're not used to running for 10 minutes, even at the slow pace, might really tire you. And what I would do is just walk. Maybe try to add levels so you're gonna be walking uphill on the treadmill, and it's gonna increase the warm of your body, increase the heart rate a little bit, but not too much so it tires you. So it's gonna be a better warm up, I believe.
Yeah. Okay, so coming back to the actual exercises, I would take like not take, but I would have 4 types of exercises that you should do at the beginning. 2 are for legs and 1 is for back, 1 is for chest. So I would like to start with pull-ups because pull-ups have the benefit of if you do them correctly, you do them a lot, you look cool.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
thing with
but
pull-ups, sorry to interrupt you, is
yeah,
it's really hard to do them wrong because the gravitation works that way that it's hard to do them wrong. It's really because with pull downs you can have your hands like this or like really wide. It's you can you have to lean a little bit. It might be confusing for a beginner, but pull-ups you just hold the bar and you just go up. It's not like you have to, yeah, you have to strengthen your core a little bit, but I mean strengthen, engage your core a little bit,
yeah.
but it's not that. It's really hard to do pull-ups the wrong way.
I'd say that not mo- yes, you can't really do them wrong, but you can do them so you don't really activate your muscles that well. So you could probably, if you aren't used to the motion, if you are like doing barely any pull-ups at the beginning, it would be easier for you to like overuse your shoulders instead of using your back. So it could not like you would still do them well. It's just that you wouldn't engage your back as much as you would want it to be engaged.
Yeah, it really depends of the width of your grip on the bar.
Yeah. And the good thing with pull-ups is that you can start as you said. Either you can start with lat pull down, because if you aren't able to do a pull-up, like you don't just have the strength for it, either in your forearms, in your back, in your biceps, even a bit, then you're just not going to be able to do the pull-up. And you can either start with lat pull downs, which I think they are a good exercise. It's just that after you learn to do the pull-ups, you don't really need to do them anymore. I'd say it's just an exercise to prepare you for the bigger, more important one in that situation. And I think that's most of the not import like most of the exercises I will mention later have this easier version that you could start with if you aren't able to do the normal one.
You know, I disagree because even though a pull up and a pull down is a similar movement, it's not that similar. So if you want to learn to do, if you can't do a pull up, if you want to learn a pull up, it's better to either, if you have the machine, to do an assisted pull up on machine, or a pull up with a band, assisting band, or a negative pull up. So you hop over the bar and you slowly put yourself down. Yeah, because I don't know why. It's just pull downs and pull ups aren't exactly the same strength wise. It's a slightly different movement.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I get it. I've mentioned lat pull down instead of assisted pull-ups, like the machine that adjust your weight, because I think that the lat pull down is more available. I'd say that you have a higher chance of having a lat pull down machine than an assisted uh, pull up one. I mean, yeah, it
It's more
I
common.
yeah, I'd say that because for me I have three lat pull down machines, three different ones at my gym, and I have one assisted pull ups. And if it's taken, then yeah, you can't really do that. So, but if you have assisted pull ups, yeah, I said that a lot. We repeat those words, but if you have this machine, then yeah, it's probably the best because, as you've said, pull downs and pull ups aren't exactly the same. And even though you may do your own weight on the lat pull down, you may not necessarily be able to make a pull up because the movement is slightly different. You have to engage your core, and it just feels different when you do it. The assisted version still makes you aren't engaging your core as much, I feel like, but it's still better. And yeah, doing it with bands is the best, but when you're just starting, you probably aren't able to do it with like a normal band. You'd probably have to have either a really strong one or a few of those, which may not be that comfortable for you.
And
But
for a
yeah,
beginner, it might be difficult to set up the whole.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Because the band version is like the best because you're doing exactly the pull up with just less strength. But yeah, there are a lot of things you have to take care of, kind of, to just pull up, like you said, to set up, to know which bands work how many bands, or what type of bands. Yeah, there are a few things on that side, but yeah, either of those exercises will make you kind of prepared for the pull up, and once you start doing them, yeah, you can just keep on doing them, and I'd say there's no much reason for you to come back to the previous ones, because yeah, the assisted ones and bands ones aren't going to prove useful to you since you can do the pull-ups, and lat pull down can have some uses. I'd say, I mean, the really wide grip, if you're doing the really wide grip, it may be more comfortable than doing a really wide grip on pull-ups, I'd say.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it really depends on how long your arms are on on a person. It really depends of your on your biomechanics. Okay. So moving on. What exercise do you have next?
Okay, so another exercise, which is I think the most known gym exercise, is the bench press. And one thing is that uh, before before I said that there are, for each of the exercises there is a slightly easier beginner version. In normal bench you have to start with 20 kg mostly because that's how much the bar weighs.
I mean, you
I
could
mean depend.
start with a dumbbell.
Yeah, but yeah, the dumbbell version I think it's a bit harder, So
Yeah, but if you don't have enough strength to lift 20 kg barbell, then you can go with, I don't know, 5 kg each dumbbell, and you build the same strength.
so that's what I kind of wanted to say, that when you start doing bench, you have two variations of dumbbell and barbell, and you should start with doing both of them because at the I mean not at the very beginning, because as Bartek has said, if the barbell weighs 20 kg, you're not going to easily start with that. But with dumbbells, you could probably easily start with the 2 kg, 5 kg, depending on what types of dumbbells you have. And I'd say that starting with dumbbells, and the other version you would have like a chest press machine, because the chest press would be kind of similar to doing normal bench, like flat bench, and dumbbells would be, yeah, just dumbbells. So the chest press machine, you would probably stop doing it once you're able to bench the bar, and you would just keep on doing the dumbbell ones, because even though they are in theory the same exercise, doing bench on barbells and dumbbells is different. Dumbbells have to have a lot more control of their movement, and I'd say that this
You also
was,
have bigger range of motion.
yeah, I'd say this was kind of a bad thing for me, since I first did dumbbell bench after doing normal one for over half a year, I'd say. So I just, after doing the dumbbell version, it isn't so easy for you, I'd say, because even you have the strength to do it, you aren't used to doing it uh, stably. You don't have the stabilization in yourself, so it's easy for your arm to go the wrong way if you don't expect it to. So I was,
Yeah, because you're not used to that
yeah,
movement.
exactly. And even though it isn't that different, it still makes a difference. Yeah, I don't know how to describe it, but, and bench has the cool factor of having many variations. So you have the incline bench, decline bench, although not many people do it, because decline bench I feel like is the worst of them all,
Uh,
in my opinion.
Not actually, actually not. The regular one is the worst if you really think about it.
Yeah, but I'm talking about a beginner situation, because for the first time I like tried decline bench. I noticed one thing, and it is that a lot of blood is like coming into your head, to your brain, and you kind of feel dizzy while doing it for a long time, I'd say. So after some time it isn't such a problem, but it feels weird the first time you try it. And yeah, as you said, I'm not really sure how exactly the muscles change, so how much more you use of the bottom chest instead of the middle one. How
Okay, so decline bench press is mostly focused on the lower chest and kind of on the middle, but mostly on the lower. And the thing with that is it's the strongest position for a human for a chest press exercise because physically you're the strongest pushing a little bit downwards, not exactly how it's called.
Uh, Straight ahead. I know what you mean, but I don't know how to describe it. Yeah, but so I
Exactly, like upright, yeah. It's for your chest, it's like you're stronger pushing a little bit downwards. Yeah, that's one thing. And another thing why I don't like regular bench press, maybe not don't like, but I prefer incline bench press, is that it's better in every way. First of all, regular bench press kinda hits your whole chest, but mostly the middle section and the bottom section, and a little bit, it touches a little bit of the upper chest. But on the incline bench press, you activate the upper chest the most, and it's the most important part of the chest, like aesthetic wise, and it activates the middle chest the same way as the regular bench press. So you have no benefit to doing regular bench press over an incline bench press. Yeah,
and also I would say that many people kind of laugh at the decline because, as you said, you're the strongest at that position. So many, so people laugh that you're just doing decline.
and it's the healthiest. Sorry to interrupt, but it's the healthiest for your shoulders as well.
Okay, I didn't know that actually. Yeah, and I think that many people laugh at it because, as you said, you're the strongest at that position, and many of the like internet gurus say that not say that but do the normal bench. And if you see somebody doing a decline, it's just that they want to move more weight uh, rather than do normal press on less weights. So that I'd say that it has a bad image in minds of the people because it just looks like normal bench, but it's easier, so you do more weight. But as you said, it has its own benefits, and for example, it can be a good way uh, to change for a exercise like dips. If you can't really do dips, doing decline bench is a good alternative, I'd say. Not really the best because the movements are different, but if that's what you have to work with, then you'll work with it, I'd say. Okay, coming back to the main exercises. Another one I'd say,
Yeah. So before that, uh, you it's very personal thing, but as we said, a dumbbell version of a chest press, of a bench press, incline in best case scenario, is better because you have a bigger range of motion. But what I do is I do them interchangeably. So I hit chest 2 times a week. So I would do, let's say on Monday I would do it with a barbell, and then on Thursday with dumbbells, because you it's important to do a bench press, uh, any kind of bench press with dumbbells, because it stretches your chest the most. It gives you a like a range of motions, a range of this freaking dog is really okay. Where was I? Okay, so a regular barbell doesn't let you to go all the way down. as you see, you have like this. With a barbell, you can go like this the most, and you could even go further with dumbbells. That's why it's very important. First of all, it helps you with your more you have more mobility, and it gives you the biggest hypertrophy boost. If you were to do only one of them, I would stick with dumbbells because it's better for you for your hypertrophy. It's better for your mobility. Yeah, it's just better. But if you like the 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 barbell one, do that once a week. Maybe try some, maybe even more often. But bear in mind that having a barbell, a dumbbell version of it, is healthier for you. I mean healthier. Yeah, you gain more mobility, and it trains your pecs in the biggest stretch, so it gives you more hypertrophy. The best alternative I would personally choose, but I don't have I can't because I don't have that kind of barbell, is when you have a cut in barbell. So you have it like this, but you have here a thing for your chest, so you can go even lower. Yeah, that's what I would do, but I don't have that kind of barbell on the gym I go to.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I think it's quite rare for
moving
that
on
kind of
to
barbell.
the to the next exercise.
Yeah, so the next exercise is squats. It's a really simple exercise. I think many people are already familiar with it once they start training, but they are familiar with the like simple version, so doing it without any additional weight or yeah, okay, without any additional weight or just the normal type of squats because you have a lot of them. And squats are good for the kind of same reasons as bench, I'd say. So you have another exercise you can start with if you aren't able to do squats, although I think most people should be able to do squats without any problems, but if they aren't able, then you can start with leg press, and although it isn't the same type of exercise, it's kind of like lat pull down and pull ups, that the movement is kind of similar, but at the end of the day it is a different exercise. However, if you aren't able to start like squatting normally, then leg press should be able to help. And like bench, it has many different variations. So you have box squats, maybe you have Bulgarian squats, stuff like that. And
Hack squats.
yeah, hack squats. And each one of them targets your muscles differently, and depending on what you expect of the squat, you can probably get most of those things. And yeah, just a quick thing that if you're starting with barbell squats, start without the padding, I'd say. So without the like pillow on your neck.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's gay, bro. Why would you use that? If you're not a girl, why would you use that?
Yeah, I'd say that if you can if you can normally hold the barbell, like there's just no reason to use it. And I'd say that it's better to get used to that early on rather than later on. Because if you're going to do heavy squats and do it without the padding, if you just started doing it without the padding, then it will be kind of heavy for
It will
you.
be horrible.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
okay, so you say.
I have a funny story with that. When I started doing squats, first of all, I started doing them on a Smith machine. It was a long story because first of all, when I started going to the gym, I was scared of doing squats. I was scared that I would hurt myself. But then I found out that I'm not gonna. I'm gonna uh, later explain why. So my dad told me, maybe you should use this padding thing, so your back don't hurt. And I said to him, maybe not in the exact words, but it was like, yeah, I could, but I have this thing. What's that? A penis. Yeah, so so that was a thing.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And as I've mentioned, if you do it heavy, then doing it without the padding, you should be used to that motion. And another thing is that if you have the option of having this like bottom down supports, you can just squat down to. You should always have them. So like if you squat, you may have this support thing. I don't know what it's called. So it's a place at the bottom that you can hit your bar. So if you aren't able to
Oh,
go
okay.
up from
Yeah.
the squat, you can just leave the bar there.
So the assisting, I
Yeah,
don't know, bars.
yeah, yeah. I don't know how they are called. And if you have them on your gym, you should always use them probably, and always have them on the lowest setting possible. So you should have them as low as you're able to squat.
Yeah, lowest for you, not lowest possible, lowest for you.
Yeah, and yeah, that's what I mean. So how the lowest you can squat is where the assist should be. And what I do, and what I didn't start with, is that now when I'm doing squats, I have it on the lowest way possible, and I stop my squat once I hit the assist bar. So then I know I'm at the lowest point possible.
Yeah,
That
you shouldn't do that.
I mean, like, not really hit it, but know that it's, you know, touched it.
You shouldn't touch. You should have it a little bit lower so you can comfortably squat without the barbell touching the bar, but high enough so if you can't go up, you can just kind of throw it behind you and it's not gonna slam to the floor, it's gonna just stay there.
Yeah, and I don't mean that I'm like leaving the bar on the support. It's more that I, first of all, I'm not really doing the squats like evenly. So I'm not having the bar like that, but probably a bit like that. So I just hear that, yeah, metal touches metal from one side, and I know that I should go up at that moment. Because when I started, I would do squats like to the moment I felt that I should do them. It's hard to explain, but at the end of the day, it came to the point that I was just doing them really high, like doing literally half reps, maybe on a higher weight, but just having to do them like not even sometimes to the like 90 90 angle, like the right angle between your like uh, leg, yeah. So at the knee joint, I wouldn't even do it to the right angle. So like 90 something. Yeah, yeah. I don't know how you say angles. So 90 angle.
Degrees.
Yeah. Oh, 90 degrees. Yes, I forgot. And yes, I would do more than 90 degrees, and you should do the most you should do is probably 90. You should
Wait,
go
what?
lower if you're.
What do you mean? So you have a leg, right?
Yeah, I have a leg. So
Yeah.
this is
Oh
90.
damn.
This is right angle. And what I mean is that if you go lower, the angle goes lower.
Yeah. So you
Yeah, and what I mean,
deep
I did a
squats, you should
higher
go
one.
all the way.
Yeah, yeah. And what I mean is that I would do them higher. So I would do them like literally like that. So I don't know how much it is, like 1 and 10, 1 and 20 degrees. So I wouldn't go as deep because I just felt that if I went deeper, I wouldn't do the squat. And that's a really bad thing to do when you're doing squats because you're doing squats for them to go deep, kind of like you're doing squats to do a full squat. That's kind of a simple thing, I'd say. And if you just want this kind of, if you aren't going deep, then you're kind of doing a leg press more than doing an actual squat.
Okay, so the thing with squats is that most of the people, in order to go deep, really deep, they need to elevate their heels a little bit. It depends on how on your ankles mobility mostly. Yeah, on your ankle mobility. If you can go deep without the elevating of the heel, it's good, but most of people can't. I can't, for example. I have to elevate my heel in order to get this really deep squat. And yeah, that's a tip. It's not, it's, it, if you can't do a deep squat without elevating your heels, it's not that you're doing it wrong or something. It's just you were born that way. Your bones don't, how to say it?
Don't change.
Yeah, it kind of, you biologically can't go lower. So you need to elevate those heels to get the biggest quad stretch.
Yeah, exactly. And as I've said, in some time you can just do variations of the squats depending on what you're aiming for. So you may do them like Bulgarian squats, so doing them with one leg. And also, I recently, not recently, but a while back, I found out that if you have the bar like placed right at your neck, you're doing like a normal version. I think it's for quads mostly. However, if you put it lower, like in the middle of your traps, I think, something like that, then the angle kind of changes and you're doing it mostly for the backside, so for your glutes and stuff like that.
Okay, not really. So it's called high bar and low bar squat, and it's it depends on how long are your legs and how long is your torso. So Asian powerlifters are an excellent example. Asian powerlifters have a very long torso and short legs, so they are able to squat with their back like this. So they go like this, you know? They have bar here. This is their head, let's say. They have bar very high and they go like that. They don't lean forward, they just go this way. If you are taller, if you have longer necks, you would have to kind of lean forward like this so you don't fall back. Yeah. And if you happen to be, it's very personal because it's how your skeleton works. Yeah, if you have to lean forward to get to do a squat, it's better for you to do a low bar squat. In most cases, taller people tend to have that problem that they need to have a bar lower. For example, I do a high bar squat because I can stand straight going low, and yeah, I don't know how to better explain it. Yeah,
Yeah, so it's on the person.
it depends on how long are your legs in comparison to your torso. Yeah.
Okay, so the next exercise, which we kind of talked before the recording, are deadlifts. And the issues with deadlifts is that they aren't that easy to start with, I'd say. So if you do a deadlift for the first time, you're probably not going to do it correctly, even if you've watched all of the videos explaining how a deadlift works, even if you had someone explain it to you, maybe even show it to you, you're not probably going to do it really properly the first time you do it, because it's just a pretty complex movement, I'd say, and yeah, it's kind of weird to start with. However, uh, if you're just starting and have a hex bar or a trap bar, doing like starting with a trap bar or hex bar is a lot easier. Like I'd say that when you start doing normal deadlifts, you probably need to check a few videos explaining, maybe have someone explain it to you, show it to you, do it a couple of times before you actually start doing it correctly. And having a trap bar doesn't take anything from that. Like you just have to take the trap bar, like grab it by the handles and do a deadlift, and you're probably going to do it like mostly correctly without having any prior training in that. And I'd say like if you're beginning, the trap bar helps in that movement a lot, and after you get comfortable in it, you could start doing it with a barbell. And the thing is, they aren't really the same because the trap bar doesn't really include your back muscles as much. So in a normal deadlift, you're going to use your back a little more. However, just having this preparation, I'd say, just helps you down the line. And yeah, it's just easier to start with, and you won't do it as wrong as you would probably do a normal one.
Okay, so I think a deadlift is an excellent exercise for beginners because it gives you the overall strength. A deadlift is the only exercise that you can't really tell what it's hitting because it's hitting most of your body. And you're simply, when you're starting, you're simply, people are afraid that they're gonna injure themselves. But when you're starting, you're simply not strong enough to injure yourself because you're not gonna be able to pull enough weight in order to hurt your spine, for example, to hurt your lower back. You're just not strong enough to do that. As Tim said, a regular deadlift with a normal barbell is hard to do properly. But if you ask, you don't even have to buy to book a personal trainer. You might even ask one who's at the gym, who works at the gym, if you're doing it correctly. Most of them, maybe not all of them, but most of them would probably say that you're doing it wrong or right. Something that they would give you tips on how you can improve your form. I even saw when two guys were doing, I'm assuming, deadlifts for the first time, and the personal trainer walked up to them herself and showed them how to do a deadlift properly.
Yeah, and deadlifts also have the thing like most of the exercises, the main ones we said, have the uh, pros of having many variations. So depending on what exactly are you trying to hit with the deadlift, you have a lot of different ways of doing that. So you have like a normal one, which, as you said, has a lot of different muscle activation, has a lot on the legs, but didn't doesn't have like a main point, I'd say. So not you don't have a specific muscle. You're hitting a lot of them at the same time. And for example, I think that like the hex bar version is more inclined towards the quads rather than like your glutes and stuff.
Quads?
I think so.
Hamstrings.
Hamstrings?
Yeah, bruh, quads?
Ah, no way.
How are you hitting quads on deadlift? Bruh,
Normally,
quads are at the front of your leg.
yes. I mean, if you think of it, then the hex bar variation has a really similar movement like a squat.
Not really. You're pulling differently. On squats you're pushing, and here you're pulling.
I mean,
It kinda looks the same, but it's a different movement.
kind of. I mean, I think that the Romanian deadlift is more inclined to the hamstrings than the normal one. Like this is the
Yeah, but the normal one hits more of a hamstring than the quad. Yeah, it kinda hits all leg, but more of a hamstring.
yeah. Okay, so yeah,
Maybe if you feel your quads, you're doing
yeah.
it
It's not
wrong then.
like
I don't know.
I mean the thing is that I don't have really a developed hamstrings. I'd say so. From all of the leg muscles, I think that they are my biggest
Weakness, downside.
downsides. I say, yeah, weakness. Yeah, so they are the weakest of them all. And it's not like I'm also just feeling the quads, but in the trap bar, hex bar deadlift, I'd say I'm feeling more of a quads and glutes rather than hamstrings.
That's odd. It's the first time I'm hearing somebody's doing quads on deadlifts, but sure, if you say so.
It's not like I'm do
I mean,
it's not like
doing,
I'm
like
doing them, I feel
feeling,
them.
yeah. So maybe then quads are your weakest part. It would make more sense because
Yeah,
your
maybe.
quads are just not strong enough to do a proper deadlift, so they are the one being engaged the most.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to tell kind of because for example on leg extension, I'm doing much more than on a leg curl. However, that doesn't really yeah, it may be that I have more developed hamstrings, but not in that particular situation. Maybe the exercise is just
You know, it's kind of pointless to argue over that because I would have to see you doing the deadlift because we did that we once,
we did
but we did it once.
once. Yeah,
I don't remember that. Yeah,
yeah, maybe you're right, and they are just underdeveloped. But that feels kind of weird for me because I always thought it was the other way around. I guess the more you know. Yeah, and maybe I'm doing them a bit wrong. Yeah, I'll have to check because I haven't done them in 2 months, I think even. Yeah. Okay. And uh, yeah, as I've said, there is also the Romanian one, which hits your glutes and hamstrings like a lot. But it is also a bit weird to start with. I'd say like many people I've coached, like coached, you know, have had the most problems starting with the RDL because uh, many people think of it as like the deadlift is an upwards motion. So you're pulling it from the ground up, and the Romanian one works differently. So you're starting from the top and going down with the barbell, and the biggest like stretch, the biggest point you feel your muscles is at the bottom, not at the top exactly.
I mean it's the same with a regular deadlift.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so, but you know, the most people think of like the hard part of the deadlift, the normal one, is pulling the weight up, and in the
From the
Romania,
ground,
yeah,
the
yes,
biggest, the hardest point is when you have to lift it from the ground. So it's the barbell is in the same position. You see, in RDLs it's nearly touching the ground, and in normal deadlifts it's touching the ground. So it's the same position of the
it's the same
barbell.
position, but I'd say that like going down on a normal deadlift is the like easy part, I'd say. Like it is rather a quick motion, and the same is for the RDL going up. So while you're going up on RDL, you're doing it probably faster than while going down. At least like the biggest stretch is while you're going down, and the motion up is just to do another rep, mostly rather than engage the muscles more.
The biggest stretch is when you are down, not where you're going down. When you're at the lowest.
Yeah, I can't exactly describe what I'm talking about, but it just works the other way around.
Yeah, I kinda know, I kinda get what you're saying, but it's not really what people think. I kinda miss the point of why I even brought it up.
I'd say because when I was starting doing the RDL, I thought of it as a normal deadlift and did it in a way that you would do a normal deadlift. And this way, at the end of the day, I did a normal deadlift. Like, because I've heard all of these things, and nobody told that it's a downwards motion. I thought of it as an upwards motion, and at the end, I would do them like literally a normal deadlift. And after some time, I was like, yeah, I'm not really feeling the muscles. They are exactly telling me that I would feel that much. And I checked it, found one guy who told that it's a downwards motion, and since then, it really feels differently. And yeah, it's just a motion you have to really get used to, I'd say, because like holding the bar literally so close to your legs as you can most of the time, so you're not really having the bar really far away from you, I'd say. But yeah, that's just kind of thing with deadlifts. And yeah, those are like the main versions, I would say, but because I know that you have some versions like sumo, deadlift, stuff like that, which have their uses, although I haven't ever felt the need to do them, I'd say.
Okay.
Those were the main exercises. However, I would still mention one exercise, not really go in depth on them, on the other muscle groups, because we covered legs, we covered back, we covered chest, and the only like muscle groups left are literally your arms. So shoulders, biceps, triceps. And those are mostly, I think, like simple exercises because in triceps you don't really have that much to choose from, I would say. So if you're specifically targeting biceps, you're mostly doing,
A curl.
I mean, triceps.
Oh, tricep. Then you're doing a push down
Yeah,
mostly.
a push down. Yeah, push down, or you're doing like a push up. I don't know if that's called so, like behind your back, but or like skull crushers. But
Yeah, but it's mostly a push down. It's mostly the same exact movement, but in different position.
but in a different
Yeah.
way. Yeah, and kind of all of the arm muscles work this way. So in triceps you have the push down, which is like the main variation. In biceps you have the curl. It can be like preacher curl, it can be normal curl, hammer curl, but all of them just are a version of one another
I mean,
at the end of the day.
some of them are better than the other because of how your arm is positioned and how big of a stretch you get and how much force,
Tension.
yeah, tension do you have on your when the muscle is stretched the most. Yeah,
Yeah, so yeah, the best ones would probably be preacher curl, and I'd say
inclined
that when I was,
bench curl.
yeah,
Yeah.
preacher.
No, no,
Yeah,
no, no.
and
Preacher is when you're, man, wait. Yeah, those two. I mean, when you're sitting on a bench on an incline bench and you're curling, they're similar but a little bit different.
Yeah. And I would also kind of mention a hammer curl, but it has kind of a different
Yeah, hammer curl doesn't.
muscle activation.
Yeah, it a hammer curl looks the best in a mirror because when you're having your arm like this, it just your bicep is the best revealed the best, but it's not activated the best. The best activation for bicep is when you're holding weight like this and you're doing this, because when you're doing this, it's your the bicep has two heads and you're only activating the outer one.
Yeah, so I would mention it, but it just has other purpose rather than being just a normal variation of the curl. Because yeah, then you have like things like spider curl, like curls on flies, but all of them on cables, but all of them have the same purpose at the end of the day. I'd say they are just working kind of differently, but you could use either of those. And the last muscle is shoulder, and you could just do either the shoulder press on the machine or like overhead press using barbells, dumbbells
Or the Smith
on
one,
like a Smith
the
even.
kneeling Smith
Yeah, the
one.
Smith
Yeah.
one. Not gonna lie, but if you remember the Malta shoulder press uh, machine that I described, yeah, this one kind of hit my shoulders a lot, not gonna lie. Like, it felt weird, but I felt the shoulders a lot. Yeah, and
Yeah, maybe
even though
because
the machine was weird,
you're not used to this movement. Maybe that's why.
yeah, yeah, but I'd say that yeah, shoulders have just a lot of literally the same exercise, just in a different way.
I mean, not really. Shoulders have
I,
three
I
parts.
mean, like
So
yeah,
the front part
if you're
is,
talking about the press, yeah,
yeah, so the front part is mostly the same exercise. You're just pressing overhead something. Then you have the middle part, so the lateral part. The So you have lateral rises for that. Yeah, and then you have the back part, right? The delt part. Yeah.
okay, and from all the muscle groups, I'd say that's all. And I have one last question for you, and that is how often should beginners do those exercises? How should they spread them?
Depends on what's the routine. If you're doing as a beginner, I would do as I did, uh, 3 times a week, full body workout, and then you could do them. It's hard to spread because maybe you shouldn't do deadlifts 3 times a week. It might
Yeah,
it might be too much, but I would do them 2 times a week, and I would do every one of those 2 times a week actually. Kind of spread it on the three 3 days routine. So you would do, how many of them was? 4. So you would do 3, 3, and 3, right? Does that up? It doesn't.
wait. Uh, I mean, you would still have a few other exercises, so you would do like 3, 3, and 2. Yeah, yeah, 3, 3, and 2, but maybe on the third day you would do more of the second type of exercises we mentioned. So things like triceps push down, shoulder press, maybe some kind of leg extension, stuff like that. So you would, on the first 2 days, you would do 3 times the four main exercises, and on the last you would do only two, but have more of the second.
Yeah, so the most important exercises for the beginners are compound lifts, basically, and using free weights, not machines, free weights. because it gives you this overall strength that you lack as a beginner, and it doesn't isolate uh, the certain muscles, which as a beginner you don't want to isolate that much because you want to, as I said, gain overall strength. Yeah, just overall strength. Yeah.
And then later on, concentrate on each muscle groups.
Yeah, since you have this overall strength, you can concentrate more on a hypertrophy. So you're gonna isolate biceps, triceps, and it's hard to isolate back and chest without using bicep and tricep, but still you're gonna isolate more if you're focusing on hypertrophy. But if you're focusing on strength, you're gonna stick to those compound lifts, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, that's it for today, I'd say. I, I, I forgot the word.
We hope this
Unless you
video
have
helped
something to
you.
say.
No, we hope this video helped you, and see you next week.
See ya.